Hello all, this is Blue Knight 7 with episode 17 of the Blue Knight Cast. And today I wanted to do sort of a sub-series that I'll try to bounce back to from time to time, and I'm going to call it On My Radar. And the whole point of this is to highlight a game that may have been just announced or something I just became aware of at least, that has caught my interest and that I will try to follow news on and hopefully just play one day. And I thought I'd just do this where I highlight the game just to draw some attention to it and see if I can get anybody else interested in it, I guess. And who knows, maybe I do a review of the game down the line. But I wanted to start this one off with a game that I thought really caught my attention, and it is a game called Wild Blue by Chuhai Labs. And it was Video Games Chronicle that first brought it to my attention. I'm going to transition over to the browser for that, and I just wanted to go through this real quick and just sort of show you why this interests me. But just to give the article full credit here, Video Games Chronicle, Andy Robinson. This was a little while ago. This is kind of an idea I had to talk about for a bit. But Star Fox Veteran reveals love letter game featuring animal space pirates. I guess y'all know where this is going. It's a Star Fox game, or something like it. Giles Goddard's Chuhai Labs announces Wild Blue. Now, Giles Goddard, that's a big deal for a reason. He was one of the original developers on Star Fox for the Super NES, developed by Argonaut Software. He, along with Dylan Cuthbert, had a big role in the programming of the game. Takaya Imamura of Nintendo had a big influence on Star Fox's art direction. But Dylan Cuthbert and Giles Goddard was basically the ones who coded this. So, and of course, Star Fox 64 was done by an internal team at Nintendo after that. But Star Fox 2 for the Super NES, Argonaut Software. So we have an original on board here. But just to go on here with the article, we see some key art. A hero not too different from Fox McCloud, I would say. Some ships that definitely look different from R-Wings, but you got to note the G diffusers, the red instead of blue. And an imposing enemy in the background that kind of reminds me of Andros. I'm just saying, they're not being real apologetic about what they're doing here. But Chuhai Labs has announced Wild Blue, which it calls a love letter to Nintendo's Star Fox 64, which I think is interesting, from one of the series' original programmers. Wild Blue is described as an aerial combat adventure that reimagined the classic on-rail shooters of the 90s. The game was announced via a teaser trailer featuring studio head Giles Goddard, who programmed the original Star Fox game at Nintendo and worked on other classic games such as Super Mario 64 and 1080 Snowboarding. Okay, and we go have the trailer here. I'm not going to play it because really it doesn't show much. It's more of a highlight of Chuhai Labs. And, I wish them the best of luck making this game, of course. And I'll have a link to this article in the description. Oh yeah, Humble Games is involved too as publisher. But the premise here is join Bowie Stray and the Blue Bombers as they soar through the skies on a mission to save the world in his action-packed, nostalgic journey, as synopsis reads. Fly over oceans, desert ridges, and treacherous caves, battling waves of enemies and pushing back the forces of the evil Baron. With the help of allies, you'll fight to restore peace, while enjoying the thrill of classic arcade flight combat. According to Chuhai, the game will feature handcrafted anime-style visuals, a compelling gameplay loop, branching paths, and thrilling missions. The game's key features via the developer follow. And we get some bullet points here. Experience all the classic on-rails shooter action with new and modernized controls. Discover a rich and colorful world with stunning vistas at every turn. Fly through an action-packed campaign alongside a stalwart squad of allies. Take on exciting boss battles and dogfights against a mysterious rival squad. Discover secret paths and missions on your quest to take down the evil Baron. Become an ace pilot and master every mission through a simple and challenging score system. And then we get some screenshots here that kind of, to me, do more to show the game than the trailer does. But what I'm seeing here is a ship that looks different than an R-Wing, but let's be honest, not crazy different. And this is obviously in a volcanic environment. The two things that really strike out to me is, one, just how colorful the game is, but two, the simplified geometry. Now, it probably has more polygons than Star Fox 64, let's be honest. But at the same time, they have sort of this simple, clean, more geometric design to ships, and I would say to the landscape, which that kind of honors the older games in the Star Fox series. Not sure how well it would review today, but I like it. Moving along, we got ice environment. We clearly have wingmen in this game, which it wouldn't feel like a Star Fox game if it didn't. And then we have a desert scape, which seems kind of empty. But the environments are pretty. Very pretty environments. And then we have this kind of weird, looks like more desert and a bridge, but we have these colorful pinwheels. Yeah, not sure what's going on with that. And a little more desert and what looks like a enemy burrowed in the ground, maybe. Something going on there on the ground. Maybe an enemy that rises up. And what looks like probably one of a ring that you would fly through, like in Star Fox, you fly through rings to restore health and such. And oh yeah, it seems to have a pretty wide reticle for shooting. So that's what we see there. And I'm not really sure what to think about it all, other than it looks good. Everything here looks good. I do think, and though it may not be clear, I looked, this game's available just on Steam right now. Well, there's just going to be there's a Steam page right now, which is for a more indie game experience like I think this is going to be. It's not strange to see something start out on Steam and go to other platforms. So you could call this a PC gaming episode, but of the Blue Knight cast. But yeah, generally speaking, I am excited about the thought of this game, looking forward to it. I think that uh, it makes me feel good to see that Giles Goddard's involved. For me, my favorite Star Fox of all time really is the Super NES game. I know it's primitive now, I know it's clunky, I know the frame rate wasn't the best. There's hacks for that. But for me, it was the game that blew my mind when I was a 9-year-old kid playing the Super NES in '93. I think I was actually 8. And to see, it was the first game where I really got interested in the story and the lore of the game. I remember not having Nintendo Power, starting a subscription to Nintendo Power not long before Star Fox came out, and being totally hooked into the comics. Nintendo Power ran on Star Fox in conjunction with the game's release, and just being real hooked into that story at the time. And it was a story I kind of put in my head canon as I played the original game. And I don't know, the series has always been real special to me. Star Fox 1 played the fire out of it. It took me years before I could actually beat the game. But it was probably the game that made me learn to kind of get good. Star Fox 2, of course, didn't get to play that till later in life. I'll just say I enjoyed it, but in the same way I enjoyed Star Fox Command. For those that don't know, Star Fox Command basically took Star Fox 2 ideas and ran with it, made it work on the DS. But Star Fox, the very first one, is the one I enjoyed the most. Star Fox 64, also one of my favorite games of all time. Objectively, it's probably a better game. But there's a certain difficulty to the first Star Fox that I never thought carried over to Star Fox 64. To me, Star Fox 64 was more about catching enemy formations, locking onto the right enemy, maximizing your score when you blew them up with a charge shot. Star Fox for Super NES to me is about just surviving the obstacle course. You fly through a level, and yes, you shoot enemies, but I felt like you spent as much time in that level trying not to crash into a wall or a pillar or any other random object they threw in front of you. So, in essence, more of a flight game. Even with Star Fox 64, you had those sequences, but to me, it's about how well do you fly. That's a great Star Fox game. And I feel like the people who worked on it since would miss that. They would lose sight of that. Probably my number one problem with Star Fox Zero, I felt like it was more about the shooting. You had one awesome level where I felt like you were dodging, and I'm like, okay, now they get it. But that's the Star Fox magic to me. Can you fly like Fox? And to look at those screenshots again, just scroll down briefly. I can't tell what this is going to be in that way yet, because these areas are fairly open. There's not much in the way of enemies. I'm just saying I can't tell much right now. But if it's more about how well you fly, I think this could be an excellent game that takes people to school on what Star Fox could be. And I'll tie up this episode of Blue Knight Cast with this. It's a little shorter in some of them, but I did want to take a minute just to talk about this game. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Any help appreciated. Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching this and making it worthwhile for me to talk about the games that I love to talk about. Thank you all. Have a good day.